Wait and see. We're live.
We're live. Welcome to the Reloading Podcast, sponsored by Primary Arms. We got Jim and I on there today. We're waiting for Jason and see who else gets to show up. So
Everybody else is running slack, right?
Yeah. Yep. So we're just carrying the load here for everybody.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
You got a slacker in the channel?
Well, I thought I had him, and then all of a sudden he's gone. He came there and he left. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's on a mountain time. He's not used to it yet.
No, I don't think that was that. That was somebody else there. I think. So, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Patch of the month. You want to handle that?
I haven't got my new one.
You haven't got your new patch?
I don't think. Unless it's this one here. Make treason lethal again. Wrong host, Paul. Yeah, right
there you go.
Is this the one you're talking about?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm just...
This is my newest one right here.
Yeah, okay. That's your newest one. There we go.
Talk about politically incorrect. I love it.
There we go. I like that. I
think so. By the way, I like what you did when you zoomed us both in full screen.
Yeah.
What'd you do to
like that? You like that, huh? Okay. Good. Okay, we'll stay this way until we get another person, or we'll see what else happens.
Or what'll happen is you'll get three divisions, whatever.
Anyway. So we got that's from Sean and the gang, the patch of the month club.
Ryan Cross and Jake and all those guys.
All right.
From Patriot Patch Co. PatriotPatch.co, I think that is.
There we go, guys. Get in there and get some of those patches. Go back onto Primary Arms, guys. Go see what's on sale at Primary Arms. Support our sponsors for this show. Spend some of that, a little bit of that money out there. Hey, let them know where you got it from. Yes, sir.
We've got one wicked lady in there. Her name is Vanessa Kitty. Miss Kitty, you don't have to get a shout out, but I like what you said. And just her comment is trebuchet and guillotines. Not guillotine, guillotine. And yeah, that's it right there. Thank you, Miss Kitty. Really appreciate that. And yes, Jorgen, the trebuchet is for launching the results of the guillotine. Jason. Okay. Paul, we're going to have to get Jason. Jason says he can't get in. He doesn't have the current link. Mike sent him the link via text, but I can't move to the computer.
Can you go to...
I'll get him. That's right. I'll send the link from Messenger. Yeah. Okay. Well, forgive me, folks. I'm going to take and be on screen, but I'm going to be doing something for Jason.
So...
I didn't see Shrender's comment. Thanks, Ray. Or thanks, Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, I hadn't seen her message. I'm coming, Jason.
So... What messenger?
There you go, Jason.
What messenger? That's Facebook
Messenger, yes. And she should be able to pick that up off the computer.
carrier pigeon.
Building trebuchet is a favorite hobby. I built one time, and actually I designed one. I didn't build one. I spent a lot of time on it, and building a trebuchet is a favorite hobby of hers. Apparently, building a missile guidance system is important. Amateur rocketry. Jason, give me an idea. Where else are you on Instagram? I can't send a message there. Email, Jason. Is your email still the same? I'll see if I can't send him whip up an email for him.
Sorry, guys, we're having a little technical difficulties getting all the people on here. Just keep posting comments on that, and we'll get to you.
Jason, check your email at Comcast.
Yep, he says yes. A steam powdered trebuchet. Okay.
Wow. That would be for rewinding the trebuchet.
Yeah. Tonight's agenda. Well, we got a kind of an interesting one.
We got questions.
Yeah, we got some questions from the people.
There's Jason.
How's that?
That was difficult.
Well, Jason, are you in California?
Mhm.
Oh,
How's that? That was difficult.
mute yourself or something, Jason. Thank you, sir. You worked today.
I did.
You got paint on your hand. That's how I knew.
Mm-hmm. And I don't wear bright green T-shirts for casual wear either.
You work in that thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Commercial work. A lot of them demand that you wear high vis.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
And that sure is hell better than wearing a vest.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Even a net vest is still hot. I don't
Yep.
want the extra material hanging off of me.
Yeah.
Some of the conditions you've painted in, I'm sure. High humidity and then in a closed room filled with latex paint.
Yep.
Oh my God. The humidity's got to be above 100. And that's saturation. Anyway.
It can
So
be
how you
wet.
been? How you been, Jason?
Been doing good.
How's the have you started to relocate and moving stuff yet?
Made one trip, took some stuff up there. Nobody was staying at our house at the time, so I didn't want to take any expensive items up there.
So you sent the bill to Travis to ship the stuff back?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my youngest boy is going to be moving in here, I think, this weekend. And we finally got internet, and now we have security cameras, so we're getting there.
Good. How far of a drive is it for you?
It's 500 miles.
500? 10 hours?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Mountains slow you down a little bit.
So does drinking too much coffee and having to stop to pee.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
need
you
You
or
awake?
your wife?
Both of us.
Oh, okay.
I drink the coffee to keep myself awake, and then before you know it, I got to stop and use the restroom.
That'll wake you up too.
Yep.
Yeah, when we moved from Pennsylvania to North Carolina, that was 600 miles one way. Jason, can you turn your volume down a little bit, or is it me? Yeah, my YouTube is muted.
My YouTube is muted as well.
Okay.
And I'm not on YouTube, so all right.
Okay.
Anyhow, yeah, we so you're getting moved. You got a good 10-hour drive. Anything that I know you're not doing anything in shooting and reloading. You're just busy. Any luck on the job front out there?
Oh yeah, I got a job lined up.
Oh,
Outstanding.
I've had a
Outstanding.
job
Nice.
lined up for probably 4 months.
Commercial painting?
No, it's custom homes.
Oh, you're going to start rebuilding and remodeling.
So yeah, so it's
Nice.
supposed to be. It sounds like a really nice job. Like maybe Jason won't have to work as hard as he does now. I hope.
Nice.
I did pack up some powder.
Yeah.
Last time we were up there, my son got us a bunch of
Shh, no quantities.
electric motor boxes. He palletized them, so we brought home a pallet of boxes, nice heavy ones.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I snagged some of those and started loading powder. And that's about as far as I got. I haven't done anything else.
Well, it's like it'll be interesting to see a pallet of powder. No, you, Jason.
Pallet of boxes.
Oh, the box. You brought out boxes to put other stuff in. And surely you don't have that much powder.
Mm-mm.
They're going to the state cops in Idaho will take and see you coming for years. Imagine the joy on their faces and the fines from the hazmat transportation they're going to wrap you with.
Yep.
Kind of quantities that Jason and I keep around.
Well, I got that coming up. I got next
Well,
month.
I don't envy you guys, and I was the first of the three of us.
Yeah, and I got to figure out, split it up between a couple of vehicles or whatever to
You
get
gonna
it
move
moved.
yourself?
Oh
You
yeah.
gonna move? Oh, you got a cargo trailer?
Well, I'll rent a U-Haul, and and then I got my truck. I'll put a trailer behind it, and
That's what I meant.
yeah. But a truck, we'll rent a truck too, a 26-footer or something like that. And
Well, don't do it one way, or don't do it one way because they just about double it.
well, Bloomington, Indiana is not that bad because it's a big college town and people move back and forth. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because where I went, Port Allegany, Pennsylvania, there was a U-Haul dealer up there, but they were glad to see the truck, but oh boy, I'm still bad on that. Still hurts.
well, I think it's only about $700, and if I drop it off at another location that's 30 minutes away, they chop $200 off of it. So
There you go.
yeah, so $500, not bad.
Okay,
Then-
since our
We're done.
listeners want us to get on topic, nobody's hinting, but still. Paul, did you do anything in Guns and Reloading this week?
I have not done anything in Guns and Reloading this week. I've been a bad boy as far as getting in there, and been trying to clean up some of my stuff and get ready to move. So
I did two things. I made a date with a very attractive lady, one of my wife's best friends. She's never shot a firearm in her life, and she would like to learn how. And I'm going to start her out once I get that Winchester Wildcat that I don't know, Jason probably isn't aware of it, but I just bought a Winchester Wildcat, which is a legalized copy of a Ruger 1022, Jason.
Okay.
Ruger's patent rights must have run out, and Winchester is now legally copying that rifle. And the rifle itself was actually manufactured in Turkey, for what that's worth. But anyway, this lady She's very interested in learning to shoot, and I'm going to start her out with a little 22. Actually, I got a BB gun around here someplace that I will start her out with. That it's a little BB air-powered handgun, like a 1911 Crosman, whatever it is. Just so she gets the idea. She is launching projectiles. But anyway, I'll put her on the 22 and a little semi-automatic 22. I put a scope on top of it with tall rings, and it was like that thing ought to be like a powder puff, more like a kitten's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you got a hot date, okay?
Yep, with one of my wife's very best friends, and her husband isn't invited. He was told. And the second thing I did in Guns and Reloading was for that same rifle, I ordered a hard side Plano case. And it's a double rifle case and all that sort of thing. But it ain't no big deal. It was like $42. And, well, I'll just say it because they are carrying product. I bought it on Amazon. And they had it must have had it in a warehouse here in North Carolina because I ordered it on Sunday, Jason, and I had it here at the house by noon on Monday.
Well,
yeah, no complaints there.
yeah.
And no wonder Bezos could go jump up into space and come right back down. He must have delivered. He must have delivered my case.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Anyway, we have some pretty good questions here.
We do. And Chris W., are primers coming back yet? Get out there and look. You will find some primers out there.
Jason, in the private chat, I'm going to put copy and paste for you because I know you can't see the ones that Paul put in already. In the host chat, I'm talking about.
Okay.
Sorry to bring that in, Mike, but okay. Two more, Jason. Here's one. Oh, hell. I somehow managed to truncate that last one.
Well, we can go through it pretty quick.
And I'll try to get all of the last one.
No, you only got part of it.
All right, well, we'll read it aloud, of course.
Yeah.
Most time that helps. Okay.
Anyway, let's start with the first one from C. Hunter. Well, it seems like I'm getting my butt kicked in case prep, and wouldn't mind if you go over that a little. Still confused on what's too little gives you a maximum length, but when is it too short? He has Reading Master Hunter dies and RCBS Matchmaster dies. He's having problems with his Franklin Arsenal Case Prep Center, and he's getting, when he goes to trim the cases with it, he's getting a crooked top, and they're not even. In other words, they're not trimming evenly. So
is he sizing them first before he runs them through the prep center?
what he would have to do, you have to make sure that he sizes the cases first.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest that he has an RCBS lathe type trimmer I would suggest that he use that first till he can make sure that he is pushing the shoulder back evenly on his cases as he resizes them.
Mhm.
Because if he's got variations in that setback of the shoulder, that's going to give him variations in his trim.
Yep.
And I don't know if all his cases are from the same lot number or even if they're from the same manufacturer. So,
Okay. Well, as Mr. Hunter, the other thing is, I'm going to go back to the beginning of your question, your comment. It's a little difficult to read, but I'll figure it out. You want to know how to figure out what min and max. Well, maximum length on your case is going to come out of your reloading manual. And I will just say you're reloading to 223. And I'm going by memory here because I don't have a manual at my fingertips. So we'll just say somebody help me out or might have to help me out. I think a max overall length in the case itself would be 1.760. 760 thousandths of an inch. Okay,
right.
So what you do, Paul, Mr. Hunter, is you're going to have to reduce that length to, at a minimum, down to 1.760. If you don't, well, you're gonna you could run into pressure problems causing the bolt to jam in the case and so on and so forth. But ideally, when we trim our cases, the ideal thing to do would be to sorry, I got distracted. The ideal thing to do would be to trim the case down to 1.750. That's recommended procedure to trim your cases after resizing down to 1.760. That gives you a little bit of growing room, shall we say.
And what caliber is that for, Jim?
Those numbers are off the top of my head, number one, Jason. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be wrong. But it should be for 223 Remington 5.56 NATO.
Okay. I couldn't find what caliber he was talking about there when you.
He's not.
I'm just pulling off the top of my head.
Oh, gotcha.
I think my numbers are right, but I have to throw the caveat in there in case I am wrong.
He's reloading for 6.5 PRC is what he's talking about. Okay. I'm not going to go into the numbers because he has to look it up in the book. In the book, it will show you the cartridge dimensions and it will give you a maximum length and a trim to length.
Right.
Okay. It will say in the reloading manual, it will say the maximum length is XX.XXX, and it will give you a trim to length of XX.XXX. Okay. So those are the dimensions you have to work with first. Now, I suggest that you learn clean your brass, resize your brass, and then go to your trimming. That way you've expanded your neck, you've run everything through it, and you'll have your maximum case growth at that point, so you can trim it back.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say with my hypothetical case. You want to trim it under the max length by 10 thousandths. That's generally standard practice. And he also asked in that same introductory part of his question, he was asking, what's too short? Well, I would think 10 thousandths under that would be too short. You don't want to go beyond your trim to length if you could possibly help it. If you have a case from the factory that's too short, well, then you got a case from the factory that's too short. Use it for practice. Use it for fire forming. Use it for fouling shots. That's what I was trying to think of. Use it for a fouling shot if you're practicing, or if you're going for groups and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, don't put that in with don't mix that into your regular, your your hand loaded ammo.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and then he'll be on to powders and primers and charge and seating. Okay, right?
Well, the
Oh,
first
no,
thing,
right now.
first thing he's got to do is get his case lengths
Mhm.
straightened out and his sizing, and to make sure he's pushing the case shoulders back far enough.
Mhm.
That way, once he learns to get his shoulders pushed back the same on all his cases, then he can use the Frankfurt Arsenal case prep center and trimmer, because it goes off of it works off the shoulder. It doesn't work off of the back of the case.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You've got to get your brass trimmed squarely.
Right.
If your brass is too long and it's not trimmed square, use that RCBS lathe style trimmer to true it back up to the case mouth is square. Then in turn trim it down to the proper 10 thousandths under max length. I hope our slang doesn't intimidate or confuse you, Mr. Hunter. You've got good dies. Both your dies, the Redding Master Hunter and the Redding RCBS Matchmaster. Well, you don't have bushings for that, so you're using some of the best dies made in this country, made by Redding. I've been in the factory where they make them, and I'll tell you what, they've got some good machinery. And it's like, Jason, you ever been in a machine shop?
I have.
Can you imagine stacking machines herringbone fashion? Like parallel parking in a big parking lot.
Nope, that'd be pretty amazing.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I mean, some of those machines, there wasn't 3 feet between them. That was for the operator.
Okay,
But
Andy 79 Z28. He could be using the wrong collet in the Frankfurt trimmer.
that's true. Very good point, Andy. The other thing is too, I wouldn't use that power trimmer until you learn a lot more about your reloading. That's why we advocate. It's kind of off topic, but it's why we advocate learn your reloading on your single stage press first. Then you want to go progressive, go for it.
Well, and it until he learns, and he's got tools to measure how much he's bumped that shoulder back.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do any good. I mean, you can't, because if you bump it 1,000th on this one and 5 thousandths on the next one, you're going to trim that a whole lot different.
Mm-hmm.
This one here, yes, Jordan.
Jorgen Rangan, you rascal! Quit misbehaving, you bum.
Yeah.
My phone's ringing.
Well,
I'm not going to answer it either.
Okay. So I think we got that one pretty good, gentlemen. I suggest this, Mr. Hunter. You get a couple of tools so you can measure your what you're setting your shoulders back, and use your lathe type trimmer to right now, as far as getting your cases of the same length.
Forgive me for sounding rather vain, but I think Miss Kitty has a very good point. I'd like to highlight that. She has her notebooks. No, the other one. That one. Miss Kitty has made the comment that she always has her notebooks open during the show. Well, she's a math teacher, so numbers are her thing. But the thing is, the lady's got a point. If you don't understand, write down your question and elaborate. Get a hold of any of us. I'll even put my cell number out there if you want me to call you. Or you find me on Facebook, Messenger. It comes down to it. If I leave Facebook, no, I'm not leaving yet. But if I leave Facebook, I might have to start throwing out my WhatsApp number. Anyway, Paul and Jason both have my phone number, but these gentlemen too. Either no one will refuse to answer your question. Write
I'm
down
on,
your question and put it in writing and give it to us.
and I'm on MeWe and I'm on Discord.
I forgot about that, and I am on both.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I created the podcast group on MeWe.
So
Anyway.
and I'm open to questions all the time.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I'm sure Paul fields questions nearly daily.
So, yeah, talk to us.
Yeah, that's it.
we
There is no such thing as a dumb question, right, Paul?
I haven't found one yet.
The only question that's dumb is the one you're too scared to ask.
Well, the dumb question is the one where you hand the guy the stick of dynamite and, you tell him, are you going to stand there and yap or are you going to fish? All right. What do we got next? Mitch N. He has got 3 guns in 10 millimeter. Poor guy. He's got a Glock 20, a Fusion 1911 that he built, and a CMMG Banshee. And he's loaded the ammo to spec, COAL, excuse me, crimped but not over crimped. Check the rounds in a Dillon case gauge, all consistent, including measurements of the COAL and case length, using twice fired batch of brass. The CMMG feeds and fires with no issues, but on the Glock and the 1911, about every second round jams into the top of the chamber and the case is pinched on the feed ramp.
Okay. Well, number one, that sounds like bullet nose issue. For the CMMG, leave it be. I would dedicate that brass at 10 millimeter ammo to that gun. You may have to treat each firearm separate. Yes, they probably all 3 feed factory ammo just fine. Well, number one, what kind of bullet are you using in factory ammo? You using round nose? You using full metal jacket? You using hollow point? Yeah, I don't see any information helping us on bullet style.
He's using farther on in the Discord. He's using a powder coated lead flat point. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and it does have an ogive to it, a rounded ogive, but it is a flat point at the top.
Okay.
Now,
Paul, the question is it?
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, you said powder coated truncated cone, right?
Not truncated. No, it's a round nose with a flat point.
Okay.
So what's happening is, and here's my take on it from running 1911s and it's a fully ramped barrel. So in other words, it's got a feed ramp, and the bullet has to come up that feed ramp like this, and the flat point comes up and doesn't start to come over and hits the top of the chamber and gets pinched between the chamber and slide.
That's bullet style.
So one is bullet style, but it can be overcome by seating the bullet deeper.
Okay.
All right. Because what the ramp is not getting the back of the case up high enough till you can start getting into the supported chamber.
Okay. I was going to make mention of the Paul. I know you know this name and number. The old H&G Hensley and Gibbs number 68 and 45 ACP. I believe they come in 230 grain bullets. But anyway, that'd be what I would suggest for the Fusion 1911. And I'm a little surprised, to say the truth, that the Glock is having issues, because Glocks will feed just about anything.
This is Mitch here.
Ah, hello.
Hey
Nick.
guys, I'm here for factory ammo. I'm using flat point and hollow point, so it is feeding that. What's the difference though between the length of his reload and the length of the flat point or the hollow point that he's using?
Secondly, is his loads, are they matching, not exceeding, but matching factory ammo velocity?
He has tried seating deeper down to where the factory ammo is seated. Okay.
Well, that's right. The velocity isn't going to mean beans until it's chambered.
No,
Never mind.
it isn't the velocity. He's looking at getting that base. He needs the tail end of the cartridge to get up into the gun.
Yep.
Okay. It's right now. It's just sitting there like this, and it's not coming up.
Well, that would be feed lips on the magazine then, because they're the last thing. The feed lips on the magazine are the last thing to be in contact until it goes into the chamber.
Right. Right. He's got to slowly cycle it up to see if he can get that to come up.
Well, to do that, Mitch, I would suggest you build yourself what's called dummy rounds. 2 or 3 of each bullet style you choose for the whatever gun. No primer, no powder, but build your ammunition, or you build your dummy round rather, and stack them up in your magazine and cycle it very slowly. I've done it to show people how their 9mm Glock works. I created 6 dummy rounds, made sure they saw there was no powder, no primer, took it in their house, sat down at their kitchen table, and loaded that handgun up with dummy rounds. And I showed them 6 times how the round comes off the magazine and into the chamber. You might have to do that.
And he's done the plunk test, is what Bullseye Shooting has talked about, and it still has the same problem. They will plunk without a problem, so it's not the sizing of it. It's what it is that feed ramp, and it's all with that feed ramp because it's a ramped barrel because it's got to be fully supported. As that bullet comes up that feed ramp and comes up like this, it's coming up at too much of an angle and is not picking up the case head and getting up high enough to go into it. And it does happen a lot in 1911s. You got to remember in 1911, 1.270, that's about the longest you can get around to run in a 1911.
Well, they were also designed to run full metal jacket round nose ammunition too.
Right. So, but I'm saying, that's about where it'll run. A 9mm is a lot shorter, so they usually won't have a problem. The 10mm is a big round, and
oh yeah, it is.
It's sensitive to the case length and to the overall length.
2 suggestions I've seen from the YouTube channel. One was from K24, and his comment is kind of constructive. That the cast bullet shapes are their own beast. The jacketed data mostly doesn't match. And Bullseye Shooting also put in a comment that you might want to polish the feed ramp with mother's polish. I'm not sure what mother's polish is, but last week we were talking about using an emery stone, a round stone, to do some polishing work. I would use a fine grit on that, very fine grit, because what you might see on your feed ramp of that 1911 will be what's called tool marks. And they're like just little serrations that can affect the bullet nose, particularly those lead bullets. The bullet nose could hit that tool mark and just start going up like so, just like trying to chatter its way up, and you want it to be a smooth transition. Go right up into the chamber.
And
Well, apparently he does his makeup in his feed ramp, so I guess that's polished.
Oh, yeah, I'd say. I just saw that. Good comment, Mitch. In other words, you've been working on it for a while. Good comment.
So it's either length or possibly bullet profile,
Or both.
or both.
And I think the third one would be the angle of the feed ramp.
Yeah, but you would overcome that with either your length or your profile at some point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you could.
Your
Yeah.
ramp is your ramp. You're really not going to change it unless you change out barrels.
Yeah.
I did have this problem with my Glock years ago when I started casting, and I was using truncated cone, and it did not want to feed into my Glock. I ended up changing my my mold, and then I didn't have any problems anymore. But I was fussing with the overall length. I would make 5 dummy rounds exactly the same, and I'd be cycling them in the house trying to figure out if it's going to function or not. Didn't work. Make 5 more different size until I came to the changing the bullet shape.
Jason, in that Glock, what bullet nose did you go to?
I believe I went to round flat, just like he's got. I think been a while.
Sort of like the Lee 200 grain Tumbleweed bullet.
Yeah.
Rounded nose, truncated, sort of a truncated cone.
Rounded
Rounded cone nose.
Cone, flat nose.
Yeah.
Yes. That was on God's caliber, the 40.
Yay! We don't have any detractors around to give us trouble about that. Unless Paul wants to pick up their trophy or their torch that we put out a long time ago.
No, I'm not a big 40 fan, even though a lot of people in shooting IPSC are, because it makes major without being overpressured, as a 9mm or 38 Super will. But I grew up with 38 Super, so I can stick with that.
Sure.
But I think bullet shape would be the first one I would look at. I mean, just try a round nose. See if a round nose will work.
Well, that's the easiest thing to change. You don't want to tinker around with the angle of the feed ramp. That's getting into gunsmithing and manufacturing.
Well,
but it's all got to work. But it comes right down to it. Maybe you might have to take it to a gunsmith. But there's another suggestion in the channel from Bullseye Shooting about changing the recoil spring.
Boy, is that a big in a 1911? Whoa! I mean, a G20 Glock. Okay, guys, it's the spring is a spring, unless it's worn out. But in a 1911, I mean, I got stacks of 1911 springs. Okay, and I mean stacks because of one bullet will work and one load will work and one. But if I want to switch to another one, I got to switch to another spring. Light loads, heavy loads. They're all, it's all over the place. But in a 1911, stay with the stock spring that you have in it now. Put in a round nose bullet. Try it that way, and then you can go from there. I mean,
Well, Mitch Norse has already addressed that question, and he says that he's used 2 different weight springs that he doesn't recall the spring weight, potential weight. whatever. He believes his first spring was too weak, and of course, well, Mitch, what we're trying to say is you may have to tailor your ammunition. 3 different ammo, 3 different guns. I know you don't want to do that. I understand that, but you know,
First off, in a 10 millimeter, I think it's a 22-pound spring. I mean, the standard in a 45 is an 18-pounder. And I run 11s and 13s in my 9s and 11s in my compensated 38 supers. So you got a lot of difference in springs going in there.
Would a weak spring
Oh,
still pinch the case on the top of the ramp? Because I don't see how that would.
no, not usually. Usually it's an overpowered spring that does that.
Okay.
It moves it too fast for it to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
But
I've run into that too fast problem. Go ahead, Paul.
But a weak spring that is too long would do the same thing. Would give you that. In other words, it won't let the slide go all the way back because the spring is too long. That would only be on the 1911. I don't see it on the Glock 20. Oh no.
Yeah,
It just got
the neighborhood just went straight south, Jason.
Yep.
That boy from
Yep.
Wyoming, that smart ass troublemaker from Wyoming, is out there stirring it up already.
Yep. I don't know.
Speaking of AARP, you old Chris Sharp, you old bastard.
Crippled up old bastard, you mean?
Crippled up old bastard. You know, I might drive up there to your state one day and you and I can have a little talk. Man to man.
You bet.
Or have a beer.
Preferably the beer.
Well, you know, like I said earlier, his oxygen's been cut off to him at birth. So
Yeah.
To follow on that, folks, you got to go over to the Discord channel. And speaking of which, you want to invite to the Discord channel, just get a hold of me, please. It's very easy to do. I sent out an invite today.
Yep.
Ooh,
he's got whiskey with a Y. Okay.
I like whiskey.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just saying, I've run into that too fast issue. Some of my hot loads, shall we say, or they were max loads for my Glock. I wound up loading them clear up at max. From loaded them for 150 grain bullets, but I used 145 grain bullets. Yeah, I loaded 150 grain data, 145 bullets. And after a while, I began to realize something was causing my slide not to come back and catch the heel of the case and shove it up into the chamber. So it's either short stroking or moving too fast. And I'm beginning to think that it was short stroking, meaning my actual load was too weak, or it was moving too damn fast to catch the round.
Usually, when it's short strokes, it's not coming back far enough,
Right.
and it may pick the case up, but it may pick it up. May not. So
because you got the magazine spring has got to shove that case up against the bottom of the slide. The slide's got to come back. Then it's got to keep pushing until the cartridge comes through. Then the slide knocks this cartridge into the chamber.
the bottom of the slide's got to pick up that cartridge and lift it
Yeah, that's right.
and lift it along the breech face till it can seat. So
That's right.
we're looking at lots of friction in here, guys.
Yep.
So
That's the other thing too. Mitch, I just thought of something. If you're doing your own powder coating, are you making sure it's good and hard? Because what I'm getting at is, if it's too soft, could it possibly be slowing it down? Sort of like what I'm trying to say. It's like a coating on there that is a bit adhesive or a little too soft, almost like having Play-Doh on the nose of it, and it's picking up the impression rather than bouncing along, sliding right up the feed ramp. You did say it was a powder coated bullet, so I was wondering if maybe the powder coat is a little too soft.
well, Mitch, you put a heavier spring and it's 6 inches slide with no bushing. So springs are a little harder to find if you're buying springs from Brownells that are what's the name of them?
One thing about it, Mitch, while Paul's trying to gather his thoughts, one thing about it, remember the copper of the bullet jacket is going to be considerably harder than the powder coat. I know you don't want to make tailored ammo for 3 guns and have to carry 3 loads to the range. You may wind up doing that for your cast bullets. Paul, go ahead, please.
I'm just trying to remember the spring company that
Wolf.
Wolf. Yeah, Wolf. Excuse me. So, Wolf springs are set, so you still have to cut them in order to make them work. Depending upon what the gun is and everything. So my 5-inch 9mm, I got to cut on a 13-pound spring. I have to cut five curls off of it. In a 45, I got to cut 4, and 38 supers are all those have been shortened and moved around with, but usually just a regular Wolf spring will take care of a 6-inch gun.
Yeah, the reason why I remember the name Wolf is because they're out of Pennsylvania, where I used to live.
Yeah.
They wound up charging me sales tax when I bought a couple springs for my 1911. It's like, doggone it, get away from that state sales tax. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Sometimes it's not the spring, but it's the powder you're using.
Yeah. You know what, Mitch? That's a good idea. The only thing is, I would have a backup spring. I'd buy a second spring in case you do cut it too short. His comment is, that's a good idea, Paul. Start long with the spring and test it while cutting it shorter. That's his question. He addressed the question.
Yeah.
Anyway, buy a second spring, Mitch. Your original spring, do not tamper with it, please. You may hate life when you do, if you do. We've given him a couple pretty good ideas.
There you go, Lead Bullet Junkie. Brownells has make your own springs. Okay. But I find that Wolf, if you want information on springs, give Wolf a call. Mm-hmm. Just call them on the phone. They
they do, K24. The K24's comment is, Wolf probably sells a spring pack with 3 choices. They do, for a fact.
And they make, for 1911s, they make a 6-pack with heavyweight, and they make a 6-pack with a lightweight. Okay, so
Like
yes,
the man just said, like Mr. Nelson just said, if you want an answer about springs, talk to Wolf.
Yeah.
That's WOLF. Wolf. Wolf Springs.
two F's,
Two F's? It is?
two
Okay.
F's.
Okay, I was wrong about that. Don't ask me about springs. Or spelling either.
Yeah, well, Wolf. I think I invested in, a new spring a month when I was shooting IPSC back in the early '80s. And
How much ammo did you have to shoot to wear out a spring?
well, you only need to shoot, 1,000 rounds to wear out a spring. That's it. You guys think, a 38 Super when you're running a 11 or 13 pound spring you go through them. They wear out,
Wow.
That you replace the firing pin stop, because those break. Firing pin springs, even Wolf tells you every 3,000 rounds a firing pin spring, and they'll tell you 1,000 rounds on their recoil springs. Most people on a 45 1911, they don't replace the springs often enough.
I've never replaced mine.
Yeah.
And I know mine's had at least 5,000 rounds, so maybe it'll start acting up soon. Of course, too, but right now it's a Safe Queen.
Yeah. There we go. Lead Bullet Junkie is 238 mainspring was shot. Recoil spring, right? Or mainspring. Because a mainspring on a 238 is in the grip, and it's the one that powers the hammer. The recoil spring on the slide.
Yep. And the gun wouldn't function. Well, it's not going to function if it doesn't discharge.
Yeah.
Are we ready for the third and last question?
I think we are. Go ahead with it.
Excuse me. A member is wanting to add an inert powder, and we're just simply going to say what it is. We're going to keep it anonymous, but he wants to create what's called a memorial load. He has a good friend that he used to go hunting with quite often, and the friend passed away. And he wants to take a few grains of his friend's ashes and add it to a round and use that for hunting. Okay, so so you understand what we're talking about. Let me finish the question. A member is wanting to add an inert powder to a rifle load and is wondering what problems they would have developing a load. What problems do you foresee in developing a load? Rifle would be lever action 30-30 and has 3 bullets to choose. We have 3 bullets to choose from. 135, 145, 160 grain. Pressures will have to be kept down to 35 to 45,000 psi. That would be for the firearm. But anyway, one of the first problems that Paul mentioned with it when we were off the air is you don't want to commingle the ashes into the powder or the propellant, because that would actually affect the burn, maybe reduce the burn quite a bit and create what Paul called a hang fire, if it fired at all. Or it could wind up, creating a detonation. I don't know. So we're pretty well sure that we would have to keep the ash in a small, soft, compressible container, maybe some kind. I thought of like the old contact cold medicine capsules, to the gelatin capsules. I think you can still get them. Put that in there, but that's probably too much. The other thing is, too, you have to consider the weight of the ash, the container of the ash, and add that to the weight of the bullet. But anyway, if you folks out on the panel have any other ideas, the panel, I'm talking about the YouTube chat, if you folks out there have any ideas on what I just said, We sure would appreciate that. It's like I said, it's a memorial load. He wants to take his friend hunting for the last time.
Nope, we're not looking at hollowing out the bullet. We're not looking at using hollow points, and we'd like to put it into the cartridge.
So they make a load like they'll use cream of wheat or something like that to help fill the case.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the difference in doing that as opposed to filling the case with his friend's ashes? I don't understand quite how that works.
Well,
But I
the
just
idea you
remember
don't
reading
want to
that.
commingle with the ashes. The ashes are going to be fine dust, like flour. You know that. So you wouldn't want to commingle that into the propellant.
And the cream of wheat is a more coarse.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I've never
And it-
opened up the ash boxes, Jim. I have no idea what they actually look like.
Um,
I've been there.
the cream of wheat will pack, and an ash is difference in granular sizes, all over the place. I like the idea of using a capsule. I think that is a good way to keep it separated. Won't add much to it. You're going to have to add the weight of the capsule to the bullet weight, because it will be a part of the projectile. So that would that's my thinking, and start low and work your way up. And if you're worried about just wasting the ashes in testing, just use just a capsule from an aspirin.
We have two excellent suggestions already. And one of them is using some kind of a patch, like you and I discussed, Paul, using tissue paper of some kind to create a small container.
Mm-hmm.
And the tissue paper would be incinerated.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea, Chris. Very good idea.
Yeah.
And Jorgen Reagan also came up with a second suggestion, and it's a pretty good one too. But I don't know if Mike's a smoke puller or not. He might be. I don't know.
No names. No names.
My bad. Mike, edit that out. Anyway,
No
I'll
names.
start over. That's not the same Mike anyway. Anyway, Jorgen's got a great idea. And it's a muzzler with the ash between the patch and the ball, not between the patch and the propellant.
This gentleman is still wanting to use a 30-30, and he wants to use a 135, a 145, or a 160 bullet. I am thinking, because of the type of hunting that he does and where it's at, where he's located, that he would use a 145 grain bullet, because that would put it closer to a 150 or a 160 grain bullet for the area that he hunts in, with the weight of the weight of the remains, and he would still get close to ideal ballistics for his area. And a 135 grain bullet, I used to hunt a lot with a 30 Harriet, and for deer, and a 130 grain bullet was a bullet that I preferred, which can be done, but a 145, a 150 grain bullet does perform better. So I would stick in that weight. If he's in real rough terrain, then I may move up to a 160 grain bullet. but expect the recoil to be a lot harsher.
Well, GGW Reloading came up with another good one too. A little bit of polyfill on top of the propellant. Put the ash in, with measured, weighed amount of ash, and seat the bullet over top of that. That's the simplest solution I've seen. Where do you get polyfill? Buy a little stuffed animal. A little polyester in there. You want to weigh the polyester, maybe 1/10 of a grain, but still weigh it. Just enough to keep the propellant from mixing with the ash from mixing with the propellant. That's the same principle we're talking about, bullseye shooting. Why couldn't they put the powder in first, then a cut cloth, then the ashes? Kind of like muzzle loading. Well, it'd be muzzle loading the cartridge itself.
The cut cloth is a little bit harder to place in a bottleneck cartridge. To actually poke it in. The polyfill is the easiest way to do it because a little pinch, it goes in, and I mean it doesn't weigh anything. Polyfill, I got to use my scale to weigh out polyfill. Polyfill. I mean, you're talking hundreds of a grain to stop the ash. So it's the two things that we're really looking here is what would somebody think of the adding this to a load? I mean, do you just start with the book and go from there? Or do we add the weight to it and use the next higher weight cartridge? So if it's a 145, we're taking loads from, move up to a 150 grain bullet and kind of extrapolate the load data from that, and or a 160 grain, depending upon how much you want to put in. But the idea is to bounce this around off of everybody here and see what their feelings are as far as the ballistically. How would you handle this?
I think the polyfill is the simplest idea. Like somebody said, don't overthink things. Oh, it's LBJ. Oh, Lead Bullet Junkie did that. His comment was, I think Jorgen hit the nail on the head, but his main comment that I appreciate is don't overthink it. A little bit of polyfill, a little bit of ash, seat the bullet.
And test it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Paul, believe it or not, you'd be a good source for those ashes. But as awful as that sounds, I'm talking about your cigarette ashes.
There you go.
Sorry, Paul.
I thought maybe you were going to kill him and burn him.
Yeah, that was a little premature, wasn't it? Sorry, Paul. I do apologize.
Your loader's roasting on an open fire.
Oh, please don't sing no more. That's gross. That was only a tad premature. Besides that, I don't even know where you live. In Illinois somewhere.
Yeah, well, been roasted before, so.
Oh, yeah. Jason gets roasted every week. He gets on the air with me. God. I remember there was a few times Jason and I really got into it, and a few blue words came out.
Well.
Yeah.
No, I can't start at the top and work my way down. Okay.
Yeah, that's why he's saying whatever you do, don't start with a max load.
It goes against my grain.
Jorgen Rangen. To be fair, I think we'd all be honored with Paul's ashes with us. God,
Okay.
I'm not going to live that one down for decades.
Um,
Paul, you want to go hunting?
I'll airmail you a little bit at a time. How's that?
You can start with your hair. That'll way be painless. Jiminy
Oh,
crickets. No, you could even use wood ash for that matter. You know.
yeah. It's no, the idea is we're just kicking around the load, how we would go about loading this and get it, put it together for somebody. So, you know, and I'd really, you know, it's all should be a solemn event and everything else, but a little levity and sometimes in these in this type of situation helps.
Yeah, it's called black humor. I've had to use it more than once.
So,
But that's a topic. It's not for this show.
yep. Now, anybody out there have any questions?
Yeah. Where are you finding primers? Jason's cargo trailer.
No, there are primers out there. You can check with the bigger box stores first, the Cabela's, the Bass Pro Shops, the Shields. They're getting theirs in now. Expect to pay for it though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's the thing that I see. Expect to pay for it. I saw match primers, Federal 205 match primers, and I'm not prepared to pay that kind of money for them.
Cheap rascal.
Yeah, I am. But when you're talking $125 for 1,000,
That's horse. That's $12.
Yeah.
That's $12 a pack. That's $1. That's 12 cents per primer.
right?
No.
Yeah. So, it's going to take a little experimentation to find out, you know, some different loads. But that's what we're going to have to do. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I was on Brownell's site today, and they actually have powder on the site.
That's good.
That's the thing, you know, that I'm seeing. I don't see any of my powders out there yet. Okay. I really don't see any 8-pound jugs of anything.
I was going to suggest too, Paul, you might want to watch, make sure the batch numbers are at least close, because you're probably going to have to redevelop loads. It's been so long since the powder has been out there on the market. That's why you buy the 8-pound bag, 8-pound jug. I understand that. But what I'm saying is you may have to, oh my God, $68 a brick. You may have to redevelop your loads from that fresh 8-pound jug. That's what I'm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's gonna be definite.
Silver Dog, we saw your comment and we highlighted it, that he saw some primers in Cabela's in Utah last week for $68 a brick, 1,000 primer brick. That's 6 cents. That's 7 cents a primer.
Be used to it, okay?
Yeah.
It went from 3.5 cents, 4 cents to 6.5. Be used to it because everything has gone up. Labor has gone up.
Well,
There's a shortage of truck drivers right now.
Yep.
I mean, is anybody, they can't get people to drive a truck from Los Angeles and San Francisco, past the Rocky Mountains, because nobody wants to drive a truck anymore because they don't make enough money doing it.
So it's a seller's market. Mitch, to address your question about how our product prices, when you can find it, like I said, go over to the Brownell site. Use the affiliate link for the Firearms Radio Television Network. The link will follow you and it's persistent. Go into the Brownell site and see what you think. I didn't look at the prices. I just happened to notice a banner saying on Brownell's today that they had powder available. By now, it may be gone. I can't tell you. I simply just looked, glanced at it, and I happened to remember and wanted to throw it out there for the show. Jim Madaw, you be careful driving that truck and paying attention to this podcast. Please. I know what it takes. And Alan Classic, that's another good friend of ours, Jason. You remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Out of Nebraska. Likes to haul hogs and hog hides. Anyway, somehow they have a way of, what they're doing is they're talk to text.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. And he's listened to the show live on YouTube. Yep. Good to see you, Jim. Nice to have you on the air live with us in our company. You remember him, don't you, Jason?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't know he's a truck driver.
One of the things I found out about interstate truck drivers, my own son was driving for a while. He was working like 70 hours a week. No overtime.
Mm-hmm.
In their infinite wisdom, somebody persuaded Congress to pass a law saying that interstate truck drivers did not have to be paid overtime once they exceeded 40 hours. My son worked for Marathon for a few months, several months. Just about went broke doing it, too. He doesn't work for Marathon any longer. Go ahead, Paul.
409, Chris Sharp, Reloader 26 in an 8-pound jug.
Oh, my God.
One of the shops here, 409 plus tax.
Okay.
That that was it closer to 300. I believe it, but when you say in 409, wow,
that's obscene. That is absolutely obscene.
I'm trying, and I understand that he probably paid big money to get it there, to have it in a store,
Mm-hmm.
And then all the requirements, But
if he doesn't, he's go ahead. Sorry.
We used to sit down and say, wow, I got to pay $20 for a hazmat fee. Now you don't think anything of the $20 hazmat fee when you're ordering something when they're charging you $400 for 8 pounds of powder.
At that price, they ought to eat the hazmat fee.
Yeah. But
you should have paid it, Chris. You'll never run across that powder again. You're going to be sorry.
Yeah, he needs it for his 6.5 PRC.
Good to see you, Swampy. Alan said he'd make his own before that. He paid that much, and I do believe he's talking about knowing that rascal the way Jason and I know him. I do believe that Ornery Bogart Swamp Rat is talking about making black magic.
Yep.
He knows how to make things.
$30 to $35 for decent shops. Yes. Yep.
That would be per pound, not per the
Yeah.
8-pound keg.
Yeah. I wish they were 8-pound kegs. I remember when they were 8-pound kegs. That price.
Yeah, really. I don't remember my 8-pound kegs being quite that low. I think the best I ever paid was about $75. Well, you're a tad older than I am too, aren't you, Paul?
Just a little bit, not much. 2 days older than God. That's all.
But we're both better looking than that poor old Jason.
Got more hair too.
I don't know.
You elderly gentlemen keep convincing yourselves.
That's all right. I put my order in already for that motorized tracked wheelchair. You know.
Scooter. Don't they call those scooters or some such?
Yeah, the tracked wheelchair. I like that. You know.
K24 put up a good comment that really should be highlighted, Paul, because he's got a point. $8 a sleeve primers are cheaper than 50 cents a round for the 9mm factory ammo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Down Under is here, and
he's paying $400 for 4-pound jugs.
Mm.
Or 4 kilograms.
kilograms. Yeah.
That'd be an 8-pound jug.
Yeah, but he's only looking going from 360, so he's only looking at a $40 increase.
Yeah.
You know, that's not bad. That's not bad. And I understand what it takes to get powder down there, even though a lot of it is made there and brought here and then shipped back down there. Lead Bullet Junkie. 8-pound kegs are non-existent for the last year and a half.
I think Chris Sharp is trying to communicate. He says Jim doesn't better looking than Jason. I don't know what he's trying to say, but he's trying to communicate. That's good, Chris.
I think he's trying to say it doesn't take much for Jim to be better looking than Jason.
I don't think he said that at all.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't. You're the butt of his joke. All right. We got anything else constructive? Ooh,
Yep.
Slam, bam. Mitch Norris, after all the good advice you were given, you slamming Mr. Nelson real bad at Paul Nelson. They make gun rides for track chairs so you can still wheel your ass out to the range. All right, we got anything else for constructive for the show?
I don't think so, gentlemen. I think everybody got any questions? And Chris Sharp is having a voice to text problem when he's driving, so
He's got a problem walking chewing gum
we'll have to get him on one day and
and roast his ass.
when he's not at a meeting, you know, and remove some more oxygen from him.
Exactly. Roast his ass real good. Maybe we'll use some of his ash. Anyway, all right.
Anyway, gentlemen, okay, ladies, go on to Primary Arms, take a look, find something, buy something, spread the word. They got a big sale going on now. I think it was 12% off. go on there and spend some of your hard-earned money there and support the show. Patreons, thank you for everything you've been doing and keep it in helping the show with things so Mike can improve with microphones and cameras and everything else, and also on giveaways that we've had. I think we got everything covered there.
Firearms Radio Network.
Firearms Radio Network. Go ahead, Jim. Take it.
Well, it's sponsored by Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company. They actually pay for the bandwidth, the storage space on whatever server this shows. All of our shows are put on and kept on. That takes money to keep out hosted. And we thank Chris and Ryan for all that.
And don't forget, if you're doing that and you go to Brownells, we have affiliate links with that through Brownells, so you can log on to the Firearms Radio Network and then use their affiliate links, and you'll help support the show that way too. And you don't pay any more money for anything.
The affiliate link also works for Amazon. I bought some firearms-related products, been buying some firearms-related products from Amazon, and the money goes right to the few cents on the dollar goes right to the show, or not to the show, to the network.
So, and then we have Patriot Patch, and another supporter of our show, and we'd like to thank them also. And to the people that come here every week and listen to our poor rendition of reloading and problem solving and everything else from the old people that seem to make up this show now.
Well, what I'm holding up on the air on YouTube is a patch of the month from Patriot Patch Company, and it's just something that says a little bit of common sense. American flag behind the guillotine. It says, "Make treason lethal again." Just a little bit of black humor. That's all. Welcome, Nick. Glad to see you. Glad you can at least make a tail end of the show.
So you're going to be back next week, Nick. Okay, good. GGW Reloading. Yeah, hey, Nick. Okay. Anyhow, as my grandpa told me, despite what your mama tells you, violence does solve problems.
Chris Sharp is an ass, not like, wow, what an ass.
You shit ass. You blew me out of the water. Oh.
Love you, Chris.
That's what he's talking about, your ass. Oh, you got me crying. Damn it, Jason. Don't do that.
We're going to be good friends.
Now you know why. If you see the tail end of this show, you'll know why when we welcome people over to Discord, why we say welcome to the asylum. The zoo, the menagerie, the Hotel California. Oh my God. And remember, damn you, Jason, don't do that again. Anyway, gun control. Very serious subject. Close near and dear to all the hearts of the pro Second Amendment supporters out there. Why? Because it's about control, not our guns. Controlling you, controlling me, No. Second Amendment, all the way. 2A all the way.
all the way. K24, we will do that next week, and K&M neck training tools, and we will go into it. So thank you all. Everybody have a good night, and next week, guys.